In 1973, John Wayne quietly saved a woman from losing everything: her home, her dignity, and the last piece of her life's work. But what he did next, no one in Hollywood ever expected. Here's how it happened. It was a quiet afternoon in Southern California when Wayne received a letter. The handwriting was shaky, the return address unfamiliar. Inside, just a few lines, from a woman who had once stood at the front of a dusty classroom decades earlier. His old teacher. She didn't ask for money. She didn't ask for fame. She just wrote that the bank was taking her house in 30 days. In the next 24 hours, Wayne faced an impossible choice: step in quietly and risk millions, or do nothing and watch the woman who helped shape him lose everything. There was no third option. The decision he made would cost him more than money and reveal a side of John Wayne the public never saw. And by the end of the story, you'll see the forgotten document that proves what he did and why he never told anyone. Stay with me. Long before the world knew him as John Wayne, he was simply Marion Morrison, a quiet, tall boy sitting in the back of a classroom, unsure of where life would take him. And the woman standing at the front of that classroom would become someone he would never forget. John Wayne first met her in the early 1920s, when he was just a student trying to find his footing in Southern California. She wasn't famous. She wasn't powerful. But she had something far more important. She saw potential where others didn't. While other students rushed through assignments, she noticed Wayne's patience. While others spoke loudly, she saw his quiet confidence. And when he doubted himself, she was the one who pushed him forward. Years later, Wayne would tell a close friend that she was one of the few teachers who treated him like he mattered, not just another student passing through. Over the next several years, their paths crossed occasionally. Even after Wayne left school, he never completely lost touch. When his early acting career struggled, she followed his progress quietly from afar. When his name first appeared in movie credits, she wrote him a short congratulatory letter. And when Wayne finally became a star in the late 1930s, after Stagecoach changed everything, he didn't forget her. Friends later recalled that Wayne had a habit of remembering people from his early life: coaches, neighbors, teachers, the people who helped shape him before the fame arrived. And among them, his old teacher held a special place. By the 1950s and 60s, Wayne's life had become a whirlwind. Film after film, public appearances, awards, travel. His schedule was packed, his name now one of the biggest in Hollywood. But every now and then, something would remind him of where he came from. A letter, a memory, a classroom long gone. And somewhere in Southern California, his former teacher continued living a quiet life. No fame, no spotlight, just the same modest home she had lived in for decades, filled with books, photographs, and memories of the students she had helped guide. For years, that was the world as it existed. John Wayne, the legend, and his former teacher, living quietly, far from Hollywood. But in early 1973, something changed. A neighbor would later recall noticing her collecting mail more slowly than usual. Bills began stacking up. The house needed repairs. And for the first time in decades, the woman who had helped shape so many young lives found herself facing something she had never expected. She didn't tell many people. She didn't ask for help. Not yet. But within weeks, a letter would be written, one that would find its way to John Wayne. And when he read it, everything changed. The letter arrived quietly, just another envelope among dozens that crossed John Wayne's desk each week. But this one was different. The handwriting was careful, slightly unsteady. The return address unfamiliar at first, until Wayne looked closer. Then he froze. It was from his old teacher. According to those close to Wayne, he opened the envelope slowly and read the letter twice before saying anything. Inside were only a few short paragraphs. No dramatic language, no emotional appeal, just the facts. She explained that rising property taxes, medical bills, and repairs had slowly drained her savings. The house she had lived in for over 40 years, the same place filled with books, photographs, and memories, was now facing foreclosure. The bank had given her 30 days. She ended the letter simply. She didn't expect help. She just wanted him to know how proud she had always been of him. Wayne sat quietly for a long moment. According to a longtime associate, he folded the letter carefully and placed it back in the envelope. The room was silent. Then he asked one question. How much time did she say she had? 30 days, came the reply. Wayne nodded slowly, because now he faced an impossible choice. Option 1, do nothing. After all, Hollywood stars received thousands of letters. Helping everyone wasn't possible, and stepping in could open the door to endless requests. Option 2, step in quietly and take on a financial burden that, at the time, even Wayne couldn't easily absorb. The foreclosure, taxes, and repairs would cost far more than just writing a small check. There was no third option, and the pressure was real. Wayne was still working constantly, but the early 1970s had brought challenges. Film budgets were shifting. Hollywood was changing. Wayne had already faced health issues and financial commitments from multiple projects. Even close friends advised caution. One associate later recalled saying, "John, you can't fix everything." Wayne didn't respond immediately. Instead, he picked up the letter again and read it one more time. Then he stood. "What bank?" he asked. Within hours, calls were being made. Quietly. No publicity. No announcements. Just John Wayne moving with purpose. But what happened next surprised even the people closest to him. Because John Wayne didn't just ask about the debt. He asked about the house. And by the next morning, he had made a decision that would cost him far more than anyone expected, and create a secret he would keep for years. Early the next morning, John Wayne made the call. No hesitation. No announcement. No one outside his inner circle even knew it was happening. He contacted the bank directly. According to a longtime associate, Wayne didn't negotiate for publicity, and he didn't ask for special treatment. Instead, he asked for one thing: the full amount needed to stop the foreclosure immediately. When the bank representative explained the total, overdue payments, penalties, taxes, and repair costs, Wayne listened quietly. Then he said simply, "Take care of it." Today, within hours, the foreclosure process was halted. But Wayne didn't stop there. Instead of just paying the overdue amount, he asked another question. What would it take to make sure she never has to worry about this again? That decision surprised even the people closest to him, because by the end of the day, Wayne had done more than save the house. He had quietly secured the home itself, arranged repairs, and ensured that future taxes would be handled. No press, no credit, no announcement, just a quiet act, handled behind the scenes. One associate later recalled, "I'd seen Wayne make big decisions before, film deals, business moves, but I'd never seen him move that fast for something this personal." By the next day, the paperwork was complete. The house was safe. But there was one more thing. Wayne made it clear. She wasn't to be told who helped. Not yet. And for years, the woman who had once helped shape a young Marion Morrison continued living in her home, never fully knowing that the student she once encouraged had quietly stepped in to save everything. But what no one realized, not even Wayne's closest friends, was that this wasn't a one-time gesture, because John Wayne wasn't finished. And years later, when the truth finally surfaced, it would change how people saw him forever. Here's what no one knew at the time. John Wayne didn't just save the house, he kept checking in. Years later, a family member would reveal that Wayne had quietly arranged for regular maintenance, property taxes, and even small repairs, all handled anonymously through a third party. The woman never received a bill. She never received a notice. She simply continued living her life, unaware that someone was quietly making sure her home remained safe. And according to those who later discovered the records, Wayne never missed a year. Not once. It wasn't a one-time act of generosity. It was a commitment, a quiet promise, kept for years. And when this information surfaced long after the fact, it changed everything. Because suddenly, this wasn't just a single gesture. It was loyalty, the kind John Wayne never talked about. In the weeks after the foreclosure was stopped, life returned to normal, at least on the surface. The woman continued her quiet routine. Morning coffee by the window, reading, occasional visits from neighbors. The same modest home she had lived in for decades remained unchanged. But behind the scenes, John Wayne made sure that normal never slipped away again. Every year, through quiet arrangements, the property taxes were paid. When the roof needed repairs, it was handled. When plumbing issues surfaced, someone showed up, no questions asked. Over time, Neighbors simply assumed she had family helping her. She never corrected them, because she didn't fully know herself. Meanwhile, Wayne's own life continued at full speed. Film schedules, interviews, travel, health challenges. By the early 1970s, Wayne had already faced serious medical issues, including cancer treatments that forced him to slow down, at least temporarily. Yet even during those difficult years, the quiet support never stopped. According to those who later reviewed the arrangements, Wayne continued covering costs for years, never mentioning it publicly, never using it to shape his image. Financially, it wasn't insignificant. Over time, the combined costs, taxes, repairs, maintenance, added up to tens of thousands of dollars. And while Wayne was a major star, he also carried heavy financial commitments, production investments, staff, family responsibilities, and ongoing medical expenses. Still, he never pulled back. Friends who knew Wayne well often described his loyalty as one of his defining traits. Once he decided someone mattered to him, that commitment rarely changed. And in this case, it didn't. Years passed. The woman aged, but she remained in her home, surrounded by the same books, the same photographs, the same memories of students she had helped shape. Among those memories, the quiet boy who would become John Wayne. Meanwhile, Wayne himself entered the later years of his life. His film appearances became less frequent. His health remained a challenge. But even as Hollywood changed around him, the quiet arrangement remained untouched. Then, years later, everything came to light. After the woman passed away, family members began sorting through paperwork and records. That's when they noticed something unusual. Bills that had already been paid, repairs arranged through unfamiliar contacts, tax documents handled quietly, year after year. And eventually, they found the connection, a trail that led back to John Wayne. It was the first time many of them realized what had really happened, and what they discovered next became the proof no one expected. The discovery happened quietly, just like everything else in this story. After the woman passed away, family members began sorting through decades of today. Those documents remain with the family, a quiet reminder of a story that never made headlines, a reminder that one of Hollywood's biggest legends chose to do something meaningful when no one was watching. John Wayne didn't do this for recognition. He didn't do it for publicity. He did it because, decades earlier, a teacher had believed in a quiet young boy who didn't yet know where life would take him. And when she needed help, he showed up, quietly, consistently, and without expecting anything in return. In a world that often rewards loud gestures and public generosity, Wayne chose something different. He chose loyalty, the kind that happens behind the scenes, the kind that doesn't need applause, the kind that defines who someone really is. So here's the question. In your life, who would you show up for like that? Who helped shape who you became? And if the moment came, would you step in quietly, even if no one ever knew? If this story meant something to you, drop a comment with one word that describes what John Wayne did. Loyalty, respect, gratitude. I read every single one. And if you want more stories like this, the ones Hollywood forgot, subscribe. Because these are the moments that show us who legends really were when the cameras weren't rolling. Those documents still exist today, kept by the family as a reminder that the greatest roles John Wayne ever played weren't on screen. They were in the quiet choices no one saw. And next time, we'll tell the story of another Hollywood legend and the secret act of kindness that stayed hidden for decades. You won't believe what happened. See you in the next one.